Here we are in Costa Rica. We just got here. It's fabulous. I love it. My kids love it. You love it. And my husband just finished doing a class with our friend who's a jujitsu instructor here. And I think he's so hot. But I was just saying, like, the guys that I think are really hot always have a lot of feminine energy. And I'm like, clearly femme, but I have a lot of masculine energy, which like isn't immediately, you guys might pick up on it, watching me do business or seeing me in real life. But like if you just saw me, you'd say, oh, this isn't a masculine woman. And if you saw Magic, come over here for a second. I don't know if you guys would consider Magic to be like a feminine man, but Magic's got a lot. We both have like very strong he energy, but this guy, Juan, that does jujitsu he has a lot of feminine energy. And I always find that super attractive in men, maybe just because it complements my own like strong masculine energy. But a lot of guys, so we were talking about this a long years ago, Dad, but we were talking about like style and how the guys from, was it Led Zeppelin, I think that you were really into? Like so, yeah. Led Zeppelin, everyone's like, oh, they've got such style, like ultimate masculine rock and roll. They're literally wearing women's clothing, like full blown. They're wearing blouses and like little dresses and like little thing. And so a lot of times the people that seem the most masculine are actually super relaxed and they're feminine. And as we get ready to teach erotic wealth, these are the themes because everybody has masculine and feminine energy. And the idea is to balance them together. If you have a lot of masculine energy, here's some signs you have a lot of masculine energy. You're very strategic. You're very 1+1 = 2. You like control. You have a step-by-step plan for everything. Not a lot of magic, not a lot of fluidity, not a lot of creativity. You can get very stuck in your 1+1 = 2. And after this, I'm going to do this. You can be very linear. And this is super important. I call this like checkerboard style thinking. But if you have a lot of feminine energy, you're very creative. You read in between the lines, you're more fluid, more go with the flow, more let's see where the day takes us. So a lot of women, for example, would say, oh, to be a mom, I have a lot of feminine energy, but they're organizing all of the schedules. They make sure this happens here. And if things don't go according to plan, like your body doesn't determine the energy that you have. But when somebody has a balanced sexual energy, and balance means understanding their masculine and their feminine and expressing them both equally, when somebody has both of those in that perfect homeostasis where it's always moving and it's very alive, it's so attractive. So I always find men that have a strong feminine energy very attractive. Anyways, so welcome to our Costa Rican Q&A. We are having, so on Monday, and Saraswati will just keep just notice the timestamp on this so that when we send people an email about this, they'll know they can watch me say it in person if they want. The kids are joining the business. And so the first place they're going to start is onboarding. So we're going to do on Monday at 11 a.m. our time, just like a meet and greet basically for students. It's not going to be, if they want to do onboarding with us, they can, but really our intention for this call is to just see who our students are, say hi, shake hands, kiss babies, and just say hi to the people that are here in the audience. I'll be here with the kids and we have some printouts of the Pie of Life. I know we talked about doing this together as making a video and making it less personal, but I want to explore making it more personal because I just think that that first meeting is the most important one. And when in doubt, I try to use this analogy of like a restaurant or a bar. If somebody is coming into our restaurant, we don't just want them to feel like they're coming in and sitting down, but that they can actually go in and meet the chef and be like, oh, I know the chef here, and that they have this experience of seeing how everything moves. And then I think it'll also just be good. It's good for us to have an idea of like who it is that we're talking to. With the kids, there are people I don't think will verge into like oversharing territory. Someone's not going to try and like go into trauma work when my kids or me are like farting in the background. So we're going to do that on Monday. We're just going to see how it goes. It's not an accountability call. It's not specifically an onboarding call. We just want to meet our customers and say hi. So if they want to stop in and say hi, it'll be 1 o'clock Eastern, 11 a.m. here. Cool. And Saraswati, you can kind of compress that into email.
Yes. And what about the Wheels Go Forth and Conquer call? That's scheduled for 11 a.m. on the 14th.
That could be a problem. Let's okay, so I'm there on Monday. We'll do it on Tuesday. We'll do a meet and greet call on Tuesday with the kids, and we'll do Monday Wheels Reinvented.
Do you want to change the time of the Wheels call to be
so the Wheels call? I have to be there at 9. We've been waking up at like 5 o'clock in the morning, so I can keep that 9. I never, just like as a rule, I will never change a time on somebody if I can get up. Pásale, por favor. Especially if they've already been attending calls, that's something there's a couple things I just gotta have in business. One of them is like standing dates for people, not like, hey, this week you'll see me here, and then this week you'll see me here. Not canceling if there's any possible way to show up, and not changing a date once someone is used to something. So like, for example, we changed Q&A because people are already flexible with Q&A. They know it's going to be voice notes or live. But if we're changing a time on them, we give them 2 reminders so they know like this is not the usual thing that we do. Anyway, Saraswati, you can ask me questions.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. And should there be a sudden cut in our service here, it's because there's been major thunderstorms. So it'll be because of weather. If the weather fucks us up here, I'm not going to come sign on later. I'll finish everything via voice memo. But if I suddenly leave, that's where it is. And if I suddenly leave Pure, we won't have the option to use like recordings from over here. We'll just take that risk for today and see how it goes. And I'm so excited. I'm so fucking excited to talk to you, Pure, out here, because so Saraswati and I, we've been talking about a lot of things for a long time, but I'm very committed to, and we'll talk about this in person. And I'm really happy that we haven't established salary yet too, because we clear the space and then it starts to fill, and then it starts to really fill, and then we start seeing some cool stuff. But I'm pretty like adamant about starting to teach in Spanish. Wouldn't that just be the most G thing to do too, as well? Like all of a sudden just like add a wing of everything in Spanish. I know one teacher that teaches in Spanish, and that's Samael Onveor. And he's a remarkable teacher, but his lineage was quite he's kind of like the Spanish speaking Aleister Crowley almost, but in Gnosis. Complicated, but very handsome and very strong teacher. Went to prison for his teachings on sex magic, which is, always cool. But I think it's going to take some logistics to be able to do this. But I think that after we leave here in Costa Rica, within like 3 months or almost even immediately, we can start to build out a whole Spanish speaking wing for our teachings. And I just feel like the Spanish speakers will feel so seen by that. Even if I butcher it, something that I know about speaking Spanish is that they love it if you try. So I want to try. Plus I have like 200 words in Spanish. So the teachings always have to get very creative. I was like texting my friend this morning being like, how do you say queef in Spanish? And she's like, why do you need to know how to say queef? And it's because I need to explain to our jujitsu instructor that I really want to do jujitsu, but I'm scared I'm going to be queefing the whole time. And I love putting the disgusting on guys all the time. I always bring my like disgust, like very human energy. Anyways, such cool stuff is coming up. And then I'm really excited to see what we do with this trailer for Yes Master, because I'm ready to start hitting book talk, dude. I'm ready to start hitting book talk in a real big way. And I don't know if that means having to make a new account or pivoting this one, because like every author wants to get on book talk. But I think that it's really cool. And I want to be able to tap that market without TikTok is so fucking addictive. And it's actually TikTok had a really strong impact on my mental health really fast. So I want to find a way to get what I want from TikTok and contribute what I want to TikTok without finding myself lost in trying to please that algorithm, because historically when I've done that, it's gone really bad. So where are you based in CR? To quote Brittany Murphy, I'll never tell. And that, oh, and thank you guys. Thank you for reminding me though. Saraswati and Pure, when you guys come out here, no geotagging, no street signs in the background, no restaurant signs in the background. Okay, cool. But yeah, we don't tell our location like ever. All right, let's do some questions.
What are your thoughts on using Patreon for subscription-based monetization compared to attempting to do it on my own site? Because I know they take 12%, but I think it would be difficult to replicate it on my own server.
I mean, it's pretty easy. I love tech questions, by the way, but it is very easy to replicate something that's like Patreon-like. Here's what I would do. Well, actually, no, because this is not an ordinary question. So the recap for this would be like, how do you know what platform is right for you? Do you do Patreon or do you do it yourself? You need to imagine that you're going to be making millions of dollars on something. You need to plan as if you're going to make millions of dollars on something. So if you're making $1 million, what's 12% of that? Is that $120,000? Are you good with giving $120,000 of your money to this platform? Now, something that replicates the Patreon experience really well is Podia, and that's very cheap. That's like $60 a month or whatever. They have pretty good not integration with other things, but something that Patreon does for you, which is really nice, is they automatically notify people when you posted new content. And I think that's really cool. Substack also automatically notifies people, and you have to learn how to do that on your own when you're not working with one of these parent sites. But I would look these things pretty closely, because however you start building is where you're going to get comfortable building. And if it's not a platform that people already know how to use, then you have to teach them how to use it. So this can make it very tempting in the beginning to be like, you know what, I'm going to use Patreon because everybody knows how to do this. But if you decide that you're over it, you're going to have to migrate that audience, which is hard. You can expect to lose 30 to 40% simply because their subscription has been interrupted and they don't feel like doing it again. I would really make a very serious, I would take it very seriously when signing on with a new platform, because it's like being married. It's being in business partnership with a specific platform, and you need to make sure that you'll like the deal that you're getting where you're at right now, but also the deal that you'll be getting when you're at $1 million of revenue a year. This is especially true if you want to have an app, because let's say that you say, okay, I want to do in-app purchases because paying a little bit of money is really no big deal. Maybe I think it's like less than 10%. But when you hit $1 million, that jumps to 30%. That you have to give 30% of your app store sales to the app store after $1 million in revenue, and 30% also to the Play Store. That's a lot of fucking money. And you don't deal with less red tape once you're paying that platform that much. You deal with more. So that's why companies like Netflix and also companies like ours don't process payments in the app. It's elsewhere because of that. So take it really seriously. Yeah, Patreon's easy, but what I would look into, the criteria that I would look at every time it's time to go to a new platform, is I'd look at bad reviews for it and just see, when people are leaving Patreon, why are they leaving? What don't they like about it? And this piece of information was crucial for me with Substack, because I was able to learn from bad reviews on Substack all of the things that they don't do that a newsletter software does, but they kind of elude people into saying, yeah, you can take your audience or you can use it like a newsletter. You can't automate, which means that you are stuck with Substack constantly having to provide new content and not being able to reuse the old stuff. That's pretty big. So, all right, let's do the next question.
Will there be live calls from Esoterica, or are we
No.
expected to work through that on our own? Okay. Next. I'm experiencing a challenge with my coaching clients with wheels work. I know they have a hard time opening up. but when we go into the wheels process, they keep coming out of the experience to try to talk about it. So basically the question is, have you experienced this, and how have you, or how would you handle it?
Okay, so when I'm doing trauma work with people, I have my fucking eyes on them. If they enter, so like if you guys watch me doing wheels processes with people, they say, "Oh, I think," I say, "No, no, no, go back to the feeling." They open their eyes, I say, "We're going to keep our eyes closed." They say, "Oh, I just want to hit this." I tell people, "Shut up. No, we're focusing on this." I keep them focused. And this is why, like, a lot of people are like, "Oh, I can't do it by myself." And then I can't see a memory. But when they do it with me, they get it. I'm not doing anything special with them. I'm just not letting them leave, and I'm not letting them get distracted. And I'm like, "No, you, you, no, you." And I just keep them on it. But also, if I had a one-on-one session, on one-on-one sessions, people are paying for your flexibility. If they want your set curriculum, then they do one of your workshops. But with one-on-one sessions, they're paying for your flexibility. So if they don't want to do trauma work, I'm not going to make them do it. But I don't tell them, "Okay, here we go. We're going to be doing trauma work." It's, "What do you want to talk about today?" And I really only go into trauma work if they're describing a persistent feeling that's coming up for them, because they've already prepped themselves for me. And it's literally so easy to just, when they're, "Oh, I've got this feeling, this tightness in my chest." Great. Step one, close your eyes. You're going to keep your eyes closed for the rest of this session. And if it seems like they're drifting or taking a long time, all I do is describe the feeling back to them. "I want you to come back to the feeling, this tightness in your chest." They drift, "Oh, I don't want to do." Okay, yeah, but this tightness in your chest, when was the first time you felt it way? And I just stay with them. I just stay with them on it. The only thing that I really keep an eye out when I'm doing trauma sessions with people as well is if they're bouncing around, if they're trying to hit more than one at a time, or if you have someone, if we got a bleeder, if you have somebody that's very emotional and doesn't have a lot of opportunities to hold the talking stick. Sometimes when you go, descend down to memory, they're going to want to add in some other things, or say, "Oh, my mom was abused by her dad," making it about their mom's trauma, or they're talking about their childhood. "Oh, this reminds me of when my boyfriend left me 20 years in the future." Say, "No, we're coming back to this feeling." But sometimes you get people that are like that. It's rare, but when you get people that are like that, sometimes it just sucks, and just be like, "Okay, cool." And recognize that you don't have to go back and repair anything that they're seeing in the past. You don't have to fix a memory they've stumbled across. Simply observing it is enough. So if it took you a really long time to get back to that memory, you can just, thank you. You can just cut after they've viewed the memory and then process it up here in the present day. So how was that? What you saw there is similar to what you're experiencing up here, but not with eyes closed or anything like that. And if you haven't specifically sold it as a trauma session and you have somebody that is hysterical, it's better to just do tapping with them and not do any trauma work at all. Otherwise, it's not that you're going to hurt them or you're going to hurt you. It's just you're going to be there for a really long time. Much more effective to just do something that's on this present plane with them. And Saraswati, I think that we'll add that into just the teacher training resources. What to do when a client is squirming.
Next question. I'm going to summarize.
Okay.
On day 3 of ritual, we'll be doing wheels and fuckless next. Is there any advice for managing my reactivity and mood swings when it's more harmful than creative as I dig through the trauma underneath?
Is she emotionally defined is going to be question number one. Because if you're emotionally defined, then you can't really control how things, all you can do is surrender to your emotions. Today I'm feeling like this, I'm going to do my best to enjoy it. Today I'm feeling angry, I'm going to do my best to enjoy it. What's really good to do when I'm angry? Working out. Today I feel sad. What's really good to do when you're sad? Resting or writing in your journal. So every bit of emotions are like weather, and there's a good weather for everything. And there's pleasure to be found in every emotion, because it's like you don't want to do rainy day activities on a day where it's sunny, but rainy days give you the opportunity to make some soup and watch some Netflix. So everything is really beautiful in its own way. Managing reactivity is basically, for people, whether you're emotionally defined or not, it's basically the goal of the spiritual path is to become less reactive. But any conscious work that you do is going to help you become less reactive. But specifically, if you have emotional definition in human design, you're not here to learn how to outsmart your emotions or control your emotions. You're here to surrender to your emotions. And what it means to surrender to your emotions is not to go belly up and, oh, everything's wrong. It's to find a way to enjoy every bit of emotional weather that you get. A question from here on Instagram: why are your pupils so small? I just want to honor that the only people that really notice large pupils or small pupils are people who have loved someone who is addicted to the kind of drug that makes your pupils small. So I just want to honor that you've been through a stage in your life where you had to check people's pupils, and that's sad for you and that sucks. But just because the people closest to you couldn't be trusted at certain times doesn't mean that the woman who's teaching you right now with small pupils because the sun's shining in my eyes doesn't mean I'm on heroin. Thank you. But I just want to honor, I know what it's like to check pupils, so I get it. Okay.
Okay, next question. Can first and second trauma come at the same time, or can
No.
any of the traumas be linked in the same memory? How often would this be true?
No. Okay. So how often would it be true is never. So let's remember the striations, and like we talk about trauma like the striations in rock when you're looking at the canyon or the mesa. Guilt provides a foundation for shame. And shame provides a foundation for anxiety. And anxiety provides a foundation for grief. And grief provides a foundation for jealousy. And jealousy provides a foundation for wondering if you're crazy. And all of those provide the foundation for believing that there's no universal help available for you. So they occur one on the other. Now, we said this in Wheels and we say it all the time. Differentiating guilt from shame can be very, very tricky. So guilt is feeling bad because you did something wrong. Shame is feeling like you just are bad. That making this selection just makes you a bad person in general. Now, this is, neither of these things are true, but something that can be helpful when you're trying to differentiate guilt from shame is understanding the symptoms associated with these things. So someone who gets things and loses things, is dealing with guilt and fear, the root chakra issue. So just think about having legs that are two different sizes. You get a thing, you lose a thing. You can't be stable, you can't be steady. That's always going to be pointing at the root chakra. If somebody's life is always shitty, the pattern never ends. I always have crappy partners. I never have good jobs. This is shame. And the thing is that if you have a busted first chakra, like basically everybody does, there's no way that the bowl of emotions, that the bowl of liquids, imagine two pillars holding up a bowl of liquid. If the pillars are wonky, there's no way that the liquid in the bowl can be contained. So there's always, each trauma provides a foundation for the next.
The next one appears to be a follow-up to a question asked last week, and this person gives a link to their lead magnet for checking.
Okay, cool. So I'll check that for her. Just please take a screenshot of this and send it to me so that I don't forget.
Okay. And then the next one is also a follow-up, but I don't want to say their name.
Okay, so we won't, if it's a follow-up, I kind of need to see both together. So take a screenshot of that one as well and send it to me. I've been watching your stuff since I've been on my spiritual journey. Have I watched Full Metal Alchemist anime? No, I haven't. You know what? Okay, so I got recognized when we were in Albany, and I love getting recognized. But you know what I noticed? When people recognize me, they always say the same thing. They always say, your videos have helped me a lot. And I'm like, I never thought, I thought I was just gonna be a bartender my whole life. So I never thought like I might be famous, or if so, like for what. But it's such a cool thing that like to be recognized by people, but have people you've never met say that something you did helped them out a lot. That's such a cool thing that I didn't know was gonna be, you know, wherever you are right now, entertain the idea that like the plan for your life is so much bigger than you can see right now, and that you'll really like it. That you might not be able to, when it comes to a vision board, you might not be able to say, oh, this is what I want to happen to me. The best you can do is say, this is how I want to feel. But surrender to a vision of yourself that's a lot bigger than you can see right now, because I guarantee you, like, you're seeing the vision for your life through a whole bunch of yesterdays. You're like digging in last night's garbage trying to make food for today. And the vision that is coming for you is so much bigger than you can see right now. So just keep asking for the next right step. Yes, my love.
Look what I found. A new bottle to my tea powder.
Honey, a kiss.
Mwah.
A
I
kiss.
know, this is for nighttime.
Honey,
Blow up.
that's the glow up.
Yeah, look.
I'm obsessed.
It's for nighttime.
Love it.
It glows up and it
Love
turns
it.
off by itself.
Hey, you want to say buenos dias to our students?
Buenos dias.
Okay, let's do the next question. This lady says you got a cool ball. Yeah.
Can you share more about the trap of spiritual teachers getting addicted to black magic?
I don't know about this, the trap of spiritual teachers getting addicted to black magic. Honestly, I'm the only person I know that I'm the only person I know that that's happened to. Well, I'm the only person I know that's been through it. I know fucking hundreds of black magicians, and they're all very cool. They're all very volatile. They all really like me. They're like, ah, join my club. I'm like, oh my God, I want to, but I become crazy when I don't get my way. And that's the thing, is like when you're addicted to black magic, you're really good at like manipulating things. So when things are going your way, you're like, I'm so powerful. Look at what I did. Rain, thunder. And then when things don't go your way, you go one of two ways. You're either like, somebody's put black magic on me, and you get all like paranoid and weird about who you think it is. And then you're like Azalea Banks fucking on live stream going crazy. Or you're like, if I didn't do my spell perfectly enough, I've got to do it one more time, but with a little bit more chicken blood. And it's like accepting that you've never really controlled anything, that you just kind of manufactured some of these conditions, that you're not, God's favorite or whatever. It can be hard. It's there's only ever the illusion of control. But for somebody that is like only doing black magic, that illusion of control is very, very strong. And I have to note that like the most appetizing part, and why black magic is so appealing, feels really good, better than you'd think, feels really good to make people scared of you. Like it does it. I'm telling you, like I've done a lot of things. If you think that you want adoration when you come into a room, think again. If you walk into a room where people are scared of you, it feels fucking bomb. But that's not the way. Wiley, I love your haircut. You cool kiddo. You want to tell them about this haircut?
Tell them that we had the pool hotel.
Tell them about it.
We had the pool hotel.
Yeah, we're staying at a place that has a pool. Quick question. How can I trust in God if he hasn't helped me in my worst, even if I asked? Do a painkiller on God. And I literally do this in my book when it's the Sahasrara chakra that you're talking about. It's opening that. Mesoterica is a deep dive on the Sahasrara chakra. But honestly, the best thing to do that works the quickest. I'm sorry that I can't, bop you on the head with a peacock feather and say, here's this pearl of wisdom that'll help you. It's going to take about 30 minutes of good hard work, and then implementing it. But go to mommyonami.com/painkiller. It's always free. My favorite is the audio meditation, and do that on God. You're waiting you're like unconsciously waiting for God to forgive you, but you need to forgive God. God's done you dirty, fair and square, and it's time for you to reconcile that. So that's how you do that. All right, next.
Curious to know if
Bravo.
channeling
One more time.
curious to know if channeling comes from a higher command in the mind. Does this mean that everything is inside of us? Nothing is coming from the outside, not bad spirits, not spirit guides, not even our connection to archangels and deities.
This is a much better question for a channeler. This is a question that's beautiful. I don't want to hammer it down to, I've had some amazing channeled messages. I've had some amazing channeled messages given to me. I've paid to get messages channeled for me. And honestly, when it comes to channel messages, this is just something where I like, don't look the gift horse in the mouth. I just enjoy it. Like, is it useful for me? Yes, then I'm going to use it. We talk about this in the Anya chakra about like Gestalt therapy or I think it's Gestalt therapy, either that or Gestalt, either way. About how it's something you can really enjoy when you're not afraid of being crazy. 1 second. But there are some things, and truthfully, people, because the fourth way really attracts the type of student that wants a calculation for everything, but there's no love in the fourth way. And if you get stuck in the fourth way, you're like endlessly trying to purify yourself. And all teachings are paradoxical that are second level. So there are some, it's like, yes, you want to prove everything, but sometimes it's time to just trust. So how do you know when it's time to just receive the gift? And how do you know when it's time to check the ingredient list? For me, I gauge it by like, how does it feel? Sometimes I just want those nice words, you know? Sometimes but you know, do you want proof that all of this exists? Who's somebody you know that's telling you about their past life incarnation as a farmer? But I know like 10 past life incarnations of Mary Magdalene, you know? Just enjoy it. Just enjoy it. It might not be, you know, the healthiest, but enjoy it.
Excuse me, Mom.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Then I found this in the toy kitchen bag.
Yeah.
And it stands.
And it stands.
Yeah, look.
I love that. Well, I feel like you and I were singing a new song the other day, but I can't remember what it was. Do you remember? We were singing something new, but I can't remember. Okay, next question.
I'm having a hard time staying consistent. I'm on the ritual day 3 and so much doubt on what if my initial idea of launching a jewelry business is the move.
What's her human design?
A 4-1 projector.
Oh, okay. All right.
So the question is really, should I restart the ritual from the beginning and redo the first 2 homeworks?
No. For the project, but what's her specific question with is she having more clarity or less clarity?
Less clarity. Also watched the first 2 videos of Mesoterica and is
Oh,
consuming a lot of
projector is overworked. A projector is trying to do a 40-day practice while doing mesoteric on the side. They just have too much on their plate right now. So for the projector, subtract the practices, just do one at a time. And for the projector, they need to just commit to finishing the ritual. They're going to have days where they really don't want to do it. And for them, they're going to have to figure out for this like magic says don't go easy on people with ritual because it's just good for everybody to show up. And like in meditation, they're like everybody can show up every day. I really feel like all human, I'm not going to say take it at your own schedule and see how you feel. What I'm going to say is put esoterica down. There's no rush on that, but get through ritual to the best of your ability. And if that needs to look different for you, then tell us what it needs to tell us on what terms you can complete it, on what terms that you feel good about you could get it done. But honestly, this is just classic projector burnout. If you were just doing ritual, you'd be fine. But it's ritual and mesoterica combined. You're working the root and the crown at the same time. You're probably just feeling a little bit burned out. So what feels doable for you? Find what you can live with and stick with that, because you don't get any rewards for the things that you start. You only get rewards for what you finish. So find what you can live with and stick to it. And that's your best bet. Do you think that answers enough for my projector?
Yeah, it also touches a lot on this idea of the jewelry business, selling art, and just what if you're in the ritual and you question if the idea that you initially had changes.
Because the projector is giving us really clear information, I need to answer them word for word clearly. They put thought into every word. So just screenshot that one and send it to me and I'll make sure that I answer it as well. I don't want an umbrella for them. I'll get that.
Okay, next one. For Wheels, when working one-on-one with a client, we ask what they would like to talk about. But since we need to heal in order, should the sessions usually go towards the lower chakras? When do we do the root, fear and guilt?
So we've never said, so in Wheels Reinvented, we talk about the importance of working through chakras chronologically, but the only time that you're able to say, this is what we're doing and this is what we're going to do is in a group setting. If it's one-on-one, so imagine, let's use an analogy of like teaching yoga. I can say, okay, we're teaching hip openers to the group yoga class. If I'm doing a one-on-one session, a one-on-one private session, I say, okay, today we're doing hip openers, and they say, actually, I have a hip injury, immediate modification for them. Because with one-on-one, they're paying for your flexibility. So with one-on-one, what do you want to talk about today? Always. The only time I can work all the chakras with people, the only time is if we are in the container of Wheels Reinvented. If I'm doing multiple, and I say this in the teacher training a lot, that usually with one-on-one clients, there's one chakra that they really need to work. And this is what we return to throughout the whole course of our work. This is shame showing up again. This is shame showing up again. And I just have to let it go. I have to trust that they'll hit their chakras eventually, but it's the only time that I can make sure that people do all of the things is if I'm teaching in a container that expressly says that.
Next one. Hey, just wondering about lesson 3 Mesoterica YouTube video. It's not your voice, but it sounds like you wrote it. It talks about your book, 9 Lines and Wheels Reinvented. I'm not sure. Lesson 3 in like in the workshop, it's that's you. Those are all the workshops. Maybe they're referring to the one that Pure did the voiceover for, but that was for 9 Lines in the Enneagram. So and that was on YouTube. And
Did we add the Enneagram YouTube video? Because look, if it's lesson 3 of Mesoterica, it's not hosted on YouTube. If it's lesson 3 of Mesoterica and there's a YouTube video, maybe we talked about the Enneagram or whatever. It's really funny. I mean, this is off topic. I don't know if there's a way to answer that. You can ask her for more information and see what she comes up with. But, it's really funny, working with spiritual people. If there was one thing I could change about my audience, I might have them be a little bit more grounded. But if they were a little bit more grounded, maybe I wouldn't have money because maybe there's a problem that I'm solving for people. But people, like, anytime there's like a glitch or something, so for example, like the Wi-Fi cuts out and they're like, at lesson 36 of your last video, you become possessed by a demon. I'm like, well, and
Pure.
kind of have to let it sit.
We just checked, and in lesson 3 in Safehouse, there's a bonus that is that video.
Well, there you go. Okay, so what do they want to know about it? I did write every word. Good for them on picking up on that. And Pure wrote it. So great time to give a credit to Pure for his excellent work on the video. I know it's in the caption of that YouTube, but maybe we just need to write it in there as well.
Okay. Okay, next. Is Wheels work appropriate to do with teens? What would you say is the youngest age for this after 10 years old?
With your own children at your own discretion. With other people's children, I don't really think that that's your domain. I'm not going to tell anybody else how to do things with anyone under 18. I just do it at your own discretion. I think the most useful thing about trauma work when it comes to children is being able to understand how it's caused and how, like, I wouldn't do trauma work with my own kids. I wouldn't do that because that's not for them. But as somebody that has a great understanding of how trauma is formed, I'm much more attuned to how, like, when things happen or when my kid has heard about something, opening up a conversation where they can tell me as much as they want about it. But I've tried with my kids too, like, hey, when was the first time you felt scared? And they never go for it. And I've found that it's totally safe for me to be like obsessed with my own mind, but to be obsessed with literally anyone else close to me's mind is not helpful. So I'm just gonna say for you, like, at your own discretion, at your own discretion.
Next question.
We have a lot of people doing wheels right now, which is cool. But we have a lot of people doing wheels right now, just good to know.
Mhm. Okay, next one is, after completing ritual and wheels, I set out building a business reimagining wheels for people who can't get past the chakra language. I just started Mesoterica, and now I feel like my teachings are really basic and I'm totally uninterested in it. Is this just an Enneagram side quest to help me refine my current offer, or am I supposed to teach fourth way because that's what I most need to learn?
You know, this happens for my curriculum here is charting my journey of suffering and how I healed it. And is really appetizing because, but it doesn't work when people try and like copy and paste it for themselves, because it's not really, they're great workshops and they've had a big impact on you. But what you're most here to teach is where you've struggled most and how you've solved it, like where you've actually struggled the most and how you solve it, not what you think can sell or what you think other people want because it was something that you wanted. I've seen the best success with how people integrate wheels into their curriculum and make money on it is when they usually pick the chakra that has like stuck out with them the most, and then they do a deep dive on shame or a deep dive on something. But it's you're like, I did wheels and now I want to teach wheels, but now I'm doing mesoteric and I want to teach mesoterica. When you do fuckless, you're going to want to teach fuckless too. And it won't be sustainable for you because the creative inbox is going to be so high of all the things you want to do. And it's going to feel hard. And I know this because I translated A Course in Miracles and I thought writing all books was that hard, but trying to follow in the steps of another teacher was actually really hard. Writing from my own experience and my own words is actually a lot easier. So what is it that you want to help other people with? Not what you think other people would go for, but what it is that you really want to help other people with, and teach that. If you were really feeling it with the chakras, then teach that. But people have success when they solve big problems for others. And the problems that you're most qualified to solve are the ones that you really struggled with for a long time. Like, you might not want to teach a workshop on bulimia. You might not want to teach a workshop about looking up to your teachers so much that you don't feel like you can do it yourself. But the things that you've struggled with most are the things that you're supposed to teach. It's not what my curriculum is. It's what your curriculum is that counts. And it takes vulnerability to do that. It takes being able to show up and talk about not all of the cool shit you know, but all of the cool shit you don't know, because you're still struggling with these like basic ass issues. I just wrote a newsletter about feeling fat, and I got so many responses from people saying that it was the best thing I ever wrote. Our myth is that we have to be really exciting and groundbreaking for people, but most of us are not really exciting and groundbreaking, and we learn so much more from descriptions of the mundane than attempts to describe the profound. There's so much, your teachings are so much stronger when they're simple. I really struggled with this. I really struggled with binge eating. I really struggled after this breakup. Like, I guarantee you other people have as well. So eat as much as you can here at school. But when it comes to, it's okay to just eat something and not have to turn it around into a teaching really fast. I'm not saying don't or stifle it or suppress it, but this happens to a lot of people. And when I was checking fuckless homework, I would see this a lot where people would turn in their homework and say, I don't understand why it's not hitting. I'm doing everything right. And I'm like, well, you're not doing everything right for you. You're doing everything like me. Like you've just really, you're doing Fuckless and you're releasing a workshop on authenticity right now, but it's so similar to mine. And I'm so flattered that you think my work is Chanel in that way, but it's got to be yours. It's got to really be yours. It's got to be covered in your taste and your story and authenticity, not just like, oh, these are the facts about authenticity. It's like all teachings, paradox, but you have to really find your voice in it. And when I'm writing, I can't read anyone else's fiction because I'll be like, my work doesn't sound like Raymond Carver, blah. Like I was trying to make the Wheels Reinvented book sound like David Sedaris. Boy, those were 3 chapters that went straight in the garbage. My word. I love him, but that's not me. We have the same birthday, but it's still not me.
I'm currently in the Mesoterica curriculum. I'm asking for your perspective and it's a slash, the 4th way perspective on compliance and mandates like Real ID, participation in biometric ID, vaccination schedules for children, issues like soil depletion, genetic engineering, and/or weather engineering.
I love this question because all of the 4th way teachings that you read were written like smack dab in the middle of World War II and or World War I if you're reading the early stuff, and they never mention it once. They never mention it even one time that there's a full-blown war going on. A lot of these things that you're talking about can't even be proven / don't really exist. Like there's vaccine mandates for everyone. Nobody could ever force you to get a vaccine. They could coerce you. Coercion is not force. And it didn't have to be a big conversation about what everyone else could do. Entertain the idea that your conversation / stance on vaccines could have been relegated to a fucking millisecond. No, not for me. And it just never got bigger than that. Oh, no, that's not for me. Never got bigger than that. Doesn't matter what other people are doing. Doesn't matter what the government says. Doesn't matter. Like it could have literally been that blip, that small. The end. Done. Over. But when it extends to what's going to happen to the people that do and what kind of world are we living in or what's going to happen in 3 years, hasn't happened yet. So how are you celebrating today? Oh, the world's going downhill. We're all going to have to use Real ID. Well, today you don't. So how are you celebrating in the face of impending doom? Albert Camus says, the only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so completely free that your very existence is an act of rebellion. Just existing is an act of rebellion. Now, I cannot tell you how many times I saw that quote reposted in coronavirus by people that were very angry and militant about everyone who thought differently than them. You're still in active war. That's not freedom. So ask yourself, like, what would it look like if I were free? And how am I living that today? Because hiding in fear of the future to come or forced compliance, nobody can force your compliance, period. There's always places to go. There's always, but that being said, the 4th way group was really good at keeping their ear to the ground and getting out before things got super complicated. Like there were hardcore curfews in Paris when Gurdjieff lived there and he just dealt with it. He didn't care. But he also comes from Russia where there was like the Bolshevik Revolution. He traveled extensively throughout the Middle East, which is like a whole ass fucking place. Constant revolts, constant wars that you would never even hear about. So there was also, while they never addressed it, they were always really good about keeping their ear to the ground. And if there were rumblings of war, to leave before things got too hairy. And you need to know that in almost every situation, if shit's going to go down and you're aware of it, you can leave beforehand. Like sorry to anybody that's offended by this, but like there were years and years and years before things got very serious in World War II where people could leave, but you get comfortable or financially it's very scary to go and be a refugee. But like if you see that things are really going down the shitter for you, standing by and saying, oh, I really hope this gets better or somebody fixes it isn't always the wise thing to do. So I feel like mastery, as Gurdjieff did it, was really towing this line between understanding that what happens to one happens to all, but also keeping your ear to the ground and being like, I'm not going to sit here if shit's going down. I'm not going to fantasize about what happens to other people, but I'm not going to sit here and wait for a further revolt if I can move. And they moved the fourth way school over and over and over again. That's a big ass thing to move. So it's both and not either or, but just think about it from the vaccine perspective, that your entire conversation about vaccine mandates could have just been like a millisecond thing where it's a no, and it just really doesn't matter what anybody else was doing. I hope that answers your question.
Can you further
Shakti
explain?
colleague Jordan Peterson, someone says here, what an interesting collection of people. Shakti colleague Jordan Peterson. Cool. How interesting. I only got the second half of that, but what an interesting combination of people.
Can you further explain what retention is in the Enneagram?
The concept of retention is how do you, so basically, if an Enneagram is a cycle of completion that will start again if we hit every point correctly. So not how do I make $1 million one time? How do I make $1 million a year? So retention is your way of anchoring in that round of success to contribute to the success of the next effort. Another way of saying this is like, if I make $100,000 on this launch, my retention strategy is to take $10,000 and put it towards an even better launch next time. And the analogy of the kitchen, retention is how do we make sure that the customer comes back? How do we make sure that the customer comes back again next time? So maybe we send them a little extra dessert. Maybe we do something special. Maybe we give them a gift voucher for next time. But how can I guarantee that this isn't the only time I see this customer?
I just received an unexpected download of clarity regarding my purpose. At the beginning stage, I feel like it needs to gestate before I voice it. Can discussing an idea disperse its potency?
What a beautiful way of articulating this question. What's their human design?
4-6, Manny Jen.
I say talk about it, talk about it, talk about it, and talk about it even more. I say talk about it as much as you possibly can with everyone that you possibly can. And I thought that maybe it might be different with books. Like, oh, I was scared that somebody would steal my idea and plug it into AI. I'm not threatened. I'm conscious. I'm not intelligent. So I'm not really like threatened by AI. But really seeing actually in the book launching world that the more you talk about it at the earliest stages, the better. Build up that hype. Every time you talk about it, you'll get more clarity. And really, when it comes to either a business plan or a venture or a pivot or some big plan, like you can be scared to talk to it, to talk to other people about it because you'll be like, oh, I sound delulu. If you sound delulu, it's probably best that you hear it early on from anyone you can and not take the criticism personally. You know, when we were telling people, oh, we're going to use sex magic to buy a $4 million house, I wish someone would have been like, yeah, you guys are fucking crazy, even though we would be like, oh, you're a dick. But we kept that plan so private that we could never hear the flaws in our own argument. Oh, we're expecting to just draw $4 million out of the ethers because we're good looking and also spiritual. Like, no. And so I say, talk it out, talk it out, talk it out, get more data and find the flaws in your own argument so that you can bring a realistic, AKA earth plane result in for yourself and not be sitting around hoping and praying that it's actually going to work out. I say talk about it as much as you possibly can.
After practicing awareness about what center I'm in, I notice how often I'm startled. Is this an automatic or reactive aspect of the moving center?
I'm not sure. I have actually no idea. But this is the whole point of fourth way work, is like when you find something, you say, oh, what is this? It's your job to say, okay, well, what is it? And that's fun, is to like kind of hunt down, where is this coming from? Like the point of fourth way work is to wrestle with it, not to stand on top of the mountain. It's a constant, you're constantly working it. So right now you're interested in being startled. Well, where is that coming from? How can you find it? Is it intellectual? Is it feeling? Is it sensing? Or is it reflexive? And is it learned? Would be a really interesting thing to figure out about being startled. Is this something you learned, or is it something that you've had since you were a baby? I remember when I first found your page and how helpful your content was and how much you helped me. Thank you so much. Mary Oliver says, and I really resonate with this, it was a big change in my thinking. May I be the tiniest nail in the house of God, tiny but useful. I used to need to be the whole house. Now I'm very happy to be a small nail. And I really want to get a small nail tattooed on my face, but I just don't really know how it would hold up. With this, with this Bentley, how many bumper stickers can we go,
Okay. Do you have any tips for reopening my clairvoyant channels after having them closed shut for years after a bad experience? Used to be crazy psychic.
Dude, I don't know, because I had a bad experience from having all of my channels open, and I said, turn that volume down to 0, honey, shut that shit tight. I don't want to see any more dead people. I don't want to talk to any more dead people. They're so fucking hurried, Oh, you're open. I gotta get a message from so and so. They're all very compelling. I fucking turned off all of my channels. Like I said, fucking shut that shit down, homie. I have enough problems to deal with on the earth plane. I just kept it shut. I just kept it shut. And I even did a mediumship course. I did a mediumship course, which was really cool, with Mary Greasy, who's awesome. And it was basically just explaining, what I got from it was that, like, psychics, mediums, trance mediums hear the same things you do. It's just they trust it and you don't. And they trust it enough to charge for it and you don't. But it's not like they're hearing extra loud things or seeing it. They see somebody sitting next to them in their car, but if they went, it wouldn't be there. They're seeing with the third eye. But I don't actually know how to open those channels back up, nor do I want to. For my personal experience, that was a very stressful time for me. And now I have third eye experiences that are much more in the creative field and don't deal with the paranormal. But I mean, if you wanted to open that up, like, listen to stories of people opening it up, listen to the Otherworld podcast. But I don't fuck with that shit, because I'm very happy with my clairvoyant, with my clairs nice and the volume very low on that sleep mode, no notifications ever. And so what does a world look like where you're not relying on clairvoyant guidance? You just go with what feels good. If it feels good, do it. If you don't. It doesn't really need to get more complicated than that. The only caveat with that is that sometimes the things you really want don't necessarily feel good to do. Like, I hate writing, but I do it. I also hate traveling with kids, but I do it. But now actually I do really like traveling with kids, and I also do like writing. I like how it makes me feel. It's like learning how to work out. Sucks at first, then you start to crave the results. So that's the only place where it gets kind of sticky. A loved one I know just died. Sorry. I feel his presence a lot. Sorry. And how doable is it to hear specific messages from people on the other side for a spiritual person? Is there an easy way? Yeah, totally. Of course, you're already hearing it. You're already sensing the presence. You can ask it questions, but a trance medium or a medium in general will trust in what they hear. They're hearing the same things as you. It's just you don't trust it and they do. Go ahead.
I have a question, and then there's 2 questions in the Zoom chat,
Okay. Oh, and that's it. A wrap?
and that's a wrap.
Okay, cool. Then we get to answer a couple questions for my people on Instagram.
Okay, can I ask my question?
Yeah.
Okay, we're in the works of signing the biggest contract we've ever signed. And with
Oh, you
this,
guys.
yeah,
Oh, so exciting.
yeah, it's crazy. And I want to be smart with the money that's coming in. We don't have an LLC or some kind of business structure.
Mhm.
What what do you recommend? Like, it's going to be over 100K total. And it's going to come in three payouts over the next, like, one this year, two in the beginning of next year once the job is complete. What should we do to be smart about this?
So you guys don't have, so it's just time to put your business pants on. It's time to set up an LLC, or not even specifically an LLC, but it's time to meet with an accountant, with a financial advisor. But just a good accountant. My accountant is really good for this. Just tell them Onami sent you. I want to set up a new account, and just tell them exactly what you told me. And they're the reason why I love working with them is because you can ask them questions. They understand that that's part of their job. I update them every time something changes or when I learn about a new thing. They can be a little slow to respond via email, but they do eventually get to you. But I would call them, professionaltaxalliance.com, call them, say I want to set up a new account. Their office is open Monday through Friday. They're based in Las Vegas. But I would just tell them you need a good accountant for something like that. And yeah, you spend a little money, but you actually just get way more money back on tax returns, everything. That it'll probably only give you guys more money to be able to have stuff like this. And you're going to want to, have you filed your taxes? We'll actually answer that question not on live. But they can also, if you have any taxes from years before that need to be filed, they can clean that up for you. Any 1099s or lingering things like that. But yeah, congratulations. So what is it a good deal? What do you get 100K over 2 years? What do they get from you?
We're going to Davos, to the World Economic Forum, and we're going to be filming interviews with AI business people, asking them about the evolution of human consciousness with AI at Davos in Switzerland in January, it is. So we're going, like, the first payment is this year once the contract is signed. And then next year in January, we get a third. And then after all of the interviews, video footage, and social media content is cut, that's when the third and final payment comes out. And the total contract is looking like 120 with a possibility to get up to 150 if we do 10 full-length interviews. And we get to go out there and we get a budget for renting gear. And yeah.
That is so exciting and so on brand for you guys and so great. And these, like, because we know that we're clearing space. We never know how it's going to be populated. And I was just thinking that, like, maybe we should see if Lexi can even start practicing covering or something a bit while you guys are out here, instead of waiting until August for Burning Man, and just seeing how much space we can free up when we're all together out here like this. But my business is here. There should be no business more important to you than your own. Your business comes first, and my business acts as a stepping stone for your business. And any person anywhere that wants it to be the other way around is delusional or just trying to be fucking crazy. But my business is here to be like the water that goes around the boulders of your guys' activities. So this is not, this is work. You guys are going to this is some pretty serious work with plenty of limitations, but I'm so happy to be able to meet up out here and say, like, what do you want your life to look like? Do you want it to look like travel? Do you want it to look like kids? Do you want it to look like, and how can my business best support you in that effort? Because there's nothing dreamy about being glued to your laptop all day. We want to make sure that everyone's doing stuff that they love, and that everybody's being able to do more of what it is that they love. It's the best for my business, and it's certainly the best for yours. But I'm so excited to hear about this contract. I'm so excited for you guys. That's so rad. And whatever it is, we're going to make it work. Whatever it is, we're going to make it work. But that is not going to be a free 150K by any means. You guys say what that is, and I'm very aware of how much work that is. And so are you. So are you, especially Pure, with making social media clips, because now you have all this experience doing it with me. So I think you guys commanded a fucking great check for yourself, and they're lucky to have you. So cool. Great. Let's do our questions from the Zoom chat.
So it's less of a question, more of requesting suggestions. I have a group I have been running for a year and a half. It's offering psychic readings and intuitive insights from their energy field, revealing patterns and limits. While people have huge changes, the group itself isn't growing. I have one client now, and I'm not sure why it isn't landing and growing.
Yeah. Plus, like your regular, is this person on Zoom right now?
I think so. Yeah.
Do you want to talk live on this? We'll just talk like this because oh my God, I can only imagine the fucking regulars, how spoiled the regulars get in a container like that. We'll keep you off of mute. I'll just talk because any time we do this, you're gonna want to read your so what's your human design? Can you find out for me, Saraswati? I've got my phone on over here.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating sometimes with these like high intimacy containers when there's not a lot of people to diffuse the energy of the group, because it's like you end up seeing the same. We kind of learned this on accountability calls where it's like a small group, but the same people showing up kind of every week and they're not really moving forward because they don't have time to integrate. But everybody wants to take advantage of the resources that are there. And that's totally right for them. You know, they'd say, okay, I want to get my money's worth out of this. So I'm going to show up with a fresh question every single week, but they're not able to integrate what they got the week before. And especially with like psychic readings and stuff, if you have somebody that's showing up every single week, what happens is in 3 months, they're like, I let this psychic run my life. And they, you know, no psychic can get it 100% right. There's always going to be, you know, that's just part of the psychic. But you know, they take that one little thing that you were wrong about and say, I trusted you to drive my entire life. And you're like, well, sorry. What's her human design?
Don't have an answer.
Okay, so just the
yeah.
umbrella statement for that is whatever your human design is, you need to audit your complete business for what is bringing you, if you're a generator or a manifesting generator, you need to audit your business for all of the places that are frustrating. If it's frustrating not having a lot of people, you need to ask yourself what satisfaction would look like. And, you know, satisfaction might look like, okay, I want to have a bunch of people in this classroom, so I'm never talking to the same person twice. Therefore, I need to maybe edit something about the pricing, or I need to change the structure of this, of how we are providing these lessons. If you don't want to change, something needs to be changed so that it's no longer frustrating and it becomes satisfying if you're a generator or manifesting generator. Same principle, analyzing what is the not self theme and turning it into the self theme. If you're a projector, you're analyzing and auditing your business. Where are all the places I feel bitter? And what would it look like to feel successful here? Where do I feel bitter that I'm not being recognized and invited the way that I want to be? And what would it look like to feel success here instead? And make those changes. This is how to scale a business according to your human design. Make those fucking changes. For a manifester, where am I feeling angry? How do these people keep doing this? And it's very hard for spiritual people to accept that they're feeling angry about things because they're like, oh no, I don't feel that. All right, when you're ready to be real with us, please come back. But wherever you're feeling angry, what would it feel like to be peaceful here? And then finally, for reflectors, where are you disappointed and what would it feel like to be surprised here? And just make those cuts, you know, fucking eat some humble pie and make some cuts, especially if you're like early in business and you're like, oh, I would feel so satisfied if I had a lot of customers, but right now I'm so frustrated because I don't have any. All right, so lower your prices until you have a shit ton of customers and get what feels satisfying to you. And so that's that.
Okay, this is the last one on Zoom. Do you have any recommendations or comments on cartomancy readings compared to typical tarot? I'm trying to create a segment and lead magnet to slowly integrate modern mysticism without tarnishing your somewhat corporate reputation.
what I would look for is a role model, and I would pray and ask to be shown a role model for this in this field. Cartomancy is reading cards, not right. It can be any cards. Bibliomancy is, one passage out of the book that speaks to you. Necromancy is a dead body. Well, actually, no. Necrophilia is a dead body. I'm not sure what necromancy is. And I remember this confusion was trending a little while ago, maybe something to do with the Diddy trial or something. I don't know. If someone wants to tell me what necromancy is, I'm interested. They're like an alt, I don't even know if you can call them goth. Whatever like Panic at the Disco is, alt something, emo, screamo maybe.
Emo.
Necromancy was they're emo, right? But I'm not actually sure. But what I would look for and what I would pray for is to be shown a role model in that industry. And when you're praying to be shown something, sometimes it's a combination. Like you're saying, please show me a role model in cartomancy, which I don't know how to say that fast. I don't know how to say it like a native English speaker. My bad. But sometimes praying to be shown something means you pray and then you go to Google and look up the word cartomancy near me, and that, you go with the person that you vibe with. Necromancy is a practice of magic involving communication with the dead, often for divination or to gain knowledge of the future. And okay, but communication, but do you need like a dead body for that? Do you need like a cadaver, or would mediums be necromantics? My question of the day. Okay, cool. All right. So we're going to do one question on, we'll do just one question here on Instagram. I have a few more minutes. We usually give ourselves 90 minutes to hang out, and the rain hasn't gotten us yet. Am I a child of Yamaya? Omo Yamaya. Thank you very much. Yes. Yes, I am. Now, I don't practice IFA, but I love it. I would say of all of the different, because I'm here to study everything and teach everything. There is no fucking path cooler than IFA, if you ask me. No path cooler than that. But I get a little crazy on it. Players need to train with okay, I just need an actual question. DUI coaching. I love that. I love that. I really hope that that's real thing. Thank you very. And so, yeah, we're here by the ocean now. Onami means great wave as well. And there's a lot of significance in that name. That name actually comes from the Zen practice, and I really had to earn it. I really had to earn it. Okay, so I guess I'm gonna wrap this up here. I'm so excited to go eat some meat. So excited to see my team here soon. We're gonna have so much fun. Wheels, you do one chakra a week is kind of the best for that. I will see you guys on, and you know what, Saraswati, let's wait. Can you ask me later today if I want to do a call on Tuesday, because Monday, Tuesday, and Friday might be a lot. Maybe we want something a little bit shorter. We'll probably just do Monday, Friday. But I'll ask, I gotta ask my kids. All right, love you guys so much, and I'll see you all later. Have a wonderful day. Bye, bye, bye. See you later. Bye, bye, bye. See you later.